action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. I'm your host, Chris the Brain. Joining me once again, it is the toy man, Christy Petrillo.
Once again, another year full of bulletproof action and another episode of the Bulletproof Podcast, bringing in 2026 with some JCVD.
We'll see what you're full of as this episode progresses. And we, of course, are joined by the one and the only Ryan Campbell.
Thank you, Brain. I am stripped down naked just in honor of JCVD for this one.
And this is why we don't use video, folks.
In honor of JCVD and to the detriment of Chris the Brain and myself.
Oh, my word. But yeah, we do want to, first of all, thank everybody who joined us on bulletproofaction.com and here on the podcast last week. It was Remembering Richard Norton Week, a tribute to the great Richard Norton. And, hopefully you were entertained by some of the things we had there. We had a couple of reviews. We had the A to Z. We had that interview from Big Mike Leader. So check it out. Definitely a man worthy of a tribute, Richard Norton. But coming up on bulletproofaction.com, the brand new movie coming to Netflix the 16th. It is The Rip. We talked about it last week. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Scott Adkins is in there. Looking forward to that. And Ryan Campbell, a new series starts the 18th.
That's right. I can finally take a break from fighting people on Twitter about the Stranger Things finale, and I can pivot to a new Game of Thrones spinoff, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which the Hedge Knight himself should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to it.
So all of that coming up on bulletproofaction.com. But coming up right now, we're going to be talking about a Jean-Claude Van Damme classic. It was released on January 15th, 1993. I could imagine that was the day I was in the theater. It's Nowhere to Run. Ryan Campbell, was this a new one for you?
It was, yeah. And it's, I would have thought some of those, 90s ones I have seen, but maybe this is kind of not one of like the more like sci-fi or like action really heavy ones that he's done. So maybe it just didn't get picked up, syndicated on TV networks as I was growing up as much as some of the other stuff. So this is the first time.
This was a change of pace for JCVD. Toyman, what about you? When did you first experience Nowhere to Run?
This one, most of the time I talk about watching movies with my older cousin, but the first time I saw this one, I was actually the older cousin in the room. My cousin, who's just a year younger than me, I was sleeping at his house, and we went to the video store and rented a couple of movies, this being one of them. So I actually got to be the older person in the room when we got to see this one, which was a bonus for myself, and I guess for my younger cousin as well, since this one had not one but two scenes with Miss Arquette that teenage boys could definitely enjoy.
And now you have the great honor of being the oldest person in this room, right?
No, I think you've got me beat by what, 2 years?
No, you're old. Okay, listen. The movie starts off with a prison bus. And this is about to become one of the world's most dangerous buses. It's pretty dangerous as it is because you got Sam, and that's Jean-Claude Van Damme. And then, Toyman, so many. This is like this thing was going to the Stuntman's convention, this bus. So many familiar faces.
Not only so many familiar faces, but so many familiar faces that had been in previous Van Damme films, although, Sven Ole Thorsen being one of them. I just want to give an Abraxas shout out because that's what a lot of our listeners might recall him from as well.
Or The Running Man.
Yes.
Perhaps.
That as well. The original Running Man.
The original Running Man, right. But yeah, later that year, he would be with Van Damme in Hard Target, but he had Manny Perry, who would be with Sudden Death, Peter Mulatto, who was the guy with the spurs in Double Impact, and Golden Butthorn Award nominee Goyo Gorick from Lionheart. So, I mean, that was quite the bus. But Ryan Campbell, we get this Trans Am, like it's riding behind the bus. It's a 2-lane road. It wants to pass, and you think, okay, this obviously a fast car like that does not want to be stuck behind a bus, but there's more to it.
Yeah, as soon as he gets in front of the bus, he pulls some evasive maneuvers that causes the bus to flip over wildly. And it's just a tragic accident, Brain. And luckily, our the bus driver is willing to crawl out and he's going to go check on the driver because he's thinking about other people. He's like, "Oh, I better go check and see if how the driver of that car is okay with this accident." But it's a stick up, Brain.
It is. It is a orchestrated a prison break, really, of sorts, because it's Billy, and we find out that Billy is the guy that Sam kind of took the hit for and went to prison, even though it was Billy who caused the whole. Billy's the cause of the trouble, but so Billy's trying to correct that. He does so here. He gets Sam out, but it's not easy. Sam's got to beat up Alan Graff, who's another Van Damme alumni. He was in Universal Soldier. He's been on a lot of things. Over the Top, RoboCop, Alan Graff. You see him all the time. But yeah, he gets that. All the prisoners get let free. Of course, when these prisoners see this Trans Am, they're like, "Oh, here's our way out of here." But so there's something that Billy did not plan for. But fortunately, Sam is awesome. He's a lawyer. We'll find out. We never really find out though, Toyman, how he knows all this fighting.
Well, he said that he learned his fighting in law school, and I always took that to be a sarcastic comment. Like,
Yeah,
while he
sorry.
was in prison, he was studying up on the law, and he probably
Hmm.
got into a bunch of scrapes out in the yard.
Oh, there you go. I see where you're going with that. But yeah, they get into the Trans Am. Okay, everything's going to be good, but that Alan Graff, he's quite the shot because he takes a shot as they're driving away and he hits Billy. Sam forgives Billy before Billy dies, so I guess that's good for his soul or
There you
something.
go. And
Did you
we've wrapped up.
recognize Billy from anywhere, Brain?
Seinfeld.
Yeah, I mean, he was certainly famous for Seinfeld. Anthony Stark, the actor's name, but pretty famous character actor from the 90s. He was on the short-lived George Carlin show
All right.
on Fox, if you remember him from there. But more recently, I've mentioned how my son is going through a Prison Break binge, and he
Yeah.
had a bit part in season one of Prison Break. So he's
He's doing
still
a prison break
doing
here.
character work. Yeah, a Prison Break star doing a Prison Break in a movie, what, 20 years, 22 years prior to the show. But looked him
Unbelievable.
up, and he was doing some character work as recently as 2024, acting on an episode of 911.
I adored him in Return of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, did
It
you?
was great in
That is
that.
a great movie.
Did you watch it on USA Up All Night with Gilbert Godfrey as your host?
It's possible, Brian.
Well, good. I hope you did. Uh, so,
Shoot, Amy.
so Sam stops at a convenience store, and the clerk is, just being a clerk. He probably doesn't, they're out in the middle of nowhere. He's probably just happy someone comes in. So he's asking some questions, getting some rather strange answers. And then the news report is playing about escaped convicts, and that clerk stops his question and answer period real quick.
Yeah, I feel like Sam kind of could have done a little bit better here. Like, there's like, if you put yourself in the shoes of that clerk, you're probably not thinking, the one guy that comes into your store just happens to be the guy that escaped a bus
What?
crash.
Right.
So it doesn't help that Sam is acting about as sketchy as you could possibly believe. He could have easily probably played it off like, that's crazy because he's in like
He's in a
he's in like a
suit.
suit. Yeah. I
So
think
yeah,
that
why
played
would you
off.
say you're going hunting? And yeah, he does that. Even it happens again later, and we'll get to that. But yeah, it's like
I guess he didn't
he's
get
just
A and
paranoid. I mean,
BS
he's been in prison.
skills.
You have to watch your back the whole time. You know, he's probably just a paranoid man at this
I
point.
guess lawyers are pretty good at BS though. Like he shouldn't. You'd think.
Mm. Um, so he gets his stuff, finds a nice little camping spot, then decides, okay, let's see what else is around this area. Sees a house, and then, like a creeper, he's peeking in the window. He sees a mom, like, taking her two kids, presumably up to bed because it's nighttime. But when she comes back downstairs, Ryan Campbell.
Ooh wee. So yeah, she begins to undress for her nightly bath, which I guess is on the ground floor. I don't know if a ton of bathrooms on the ground floor, and she must be really comfort living out in this land with no neighbor, probably for miles or something,
Right.
because she just strips right down, window open, not a care in the world, and I'd say old Sam lingers maybe a little bit too long. Brain
Well,
gets a little uncomfortable.
he's been in the clink for a while. This
I
is the
guess.
first woman he's seen in probably some years. So again, it's I'm not justifying, but you can understand why maybe the other head took over control for a bit. But he gets himself in the house, figuring, okay, she's going to be in the shower for a bit. I have a chance to go in because I need some salt for my. He must have bought about 300 steaks, but he has got a steak.
Again, Brain, like you said, you've been in prison for this long. You want that juicy steak. You
Yeah,
got to have some salt for it.
he wants that. And upstairs, the young son Mookie, played by the one and only Kieran Culkin,
Academy Award winner, Brain.
right, Academy Award winner at this point. Kieran Culkin, he hears a noise downstairs, and then when he looks out the window, he sees someone running away from the house, or something, perhaps. So then the next morning, it's breakfast. The house is shaking because we find out there's development going on, Toy Man, and they're just blasting mountains or hills, and they're leveling shit. And it's causing some disruptions.
You would think there was an earthquake or something, but it's alluding to what becomes a major plot point later on, that there are some developments, and I mean that also in the literal sense, taking place, and it's destroying the farmland and disrupting the townsfolk.
Yeah, and Mookie wants some salt for his oatmeal, I believe. And where's the salt shaker? Did you take the salt shaker, Bree? Talking to her daughter, because what daughter doesn't take a salt shaker?
They're known for
Anyway,
that, Brain. It's like they're
Mookie says E.T. took it last night. And
bum, bum, bum.
Clyde's like, I don't have time for your shit.
If you threw salt on ET, I feel like he'd be like a slug, and he would just like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so Mookie's like, he storms off because mom's not listening to his ET theory, and he opens up this box, and it's filled with stuff that we find out belonged to his dad, who died of an aneurysm, and he's looking through it, including a gun, which is good to have right there, where a kid could just go get it. But that comes into play later too. So good thing, I guess.
There's a lot of stuff that they play fast and loose with when it comes to kids in this film.
Indeed. So
yeah. Shit. Clyde? What's
Clyde?
Clyde,
not Clitty.
Yeah.
What kind of movie are you watching, Ryan Gable? Where someone
That's about the only thing we didn't see from her in this movie. But yeah, she's gonna. It's hard being a single parent, Brand. So yeah, there's a little leeway in this house.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. So then we cut to Sam, who's at his little camping area. He's unloading the Trans Am. There's a box, there's a tape recorder, and a bunch of money, with a message from Billy on the tape. Then he pushes the car into the pond. Now, make note of this, because that car sinks almost instantly.
I was thinking that too, because one, I'd already thought you're gonna have to ditch that car because one of the guards lived. He's easily gonna tell people what car they're looking for. So when they did that, I was like, okay, good. But yeah, that's a steep drop off in that pond, Brain. And then I started thinking, what would happen if he didn't get it right and it was just sticking out? What would you do then?
Right? How did he didn't know how he didn't? Did he check with something else to see how deep it was? Because it could have just been a little. But anyway, we'll get back to the pond shortly. So Sam grills up a steak. There's another explosion, and the birds are all flying. He's like, where the hell am I at? And now we're going to meet Mr. Franklin Hale. Mr. Diplomatic Immunity himself, Joss Ackland. Of course, Ryan Campbell. Here's where you could talk about the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, I was going to say, to me, he is the final Hans in D3, the Mighty Ducks, that we see die.
Final Hans. How you put
final Hans. I think all three are. Each one has a different Hans, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he is the final Hans.
And his fixer, Mr. Dunstan, Ted Levine, or is it Levine? What is it, Toyman? Do you know? Does it matter?
It's Ted Levine, but listeners who may not recognize that name right away may recognize him as Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs.
Right. Wasn't he in Monk as well? Wasn't he Mr. Monk's brother?
I did not watch Monk regularly. I know that Monk exists.
I recognize him from the original Fast and Furious.
Ah.
Yes. He's Brian O'Connor's handler guy.
Handler.
Yeah.
Yep.
See? Brian Campbell beat Toyman to the Fast and Furious reference. All right, their meeting is interrupted by Sheriff Lonnie, and they're asking about the Anderson woman, including
Now
Dunstan.
I'm gonna have to step in here because you did not put this in the notes. Do you know where Sheriff Lonnie comes from?
He looks like Michael Bay. I could think he was a young Michael Bay.
I do not.
Sheriff Lonnie, just several years prior, is very famous in some of the circles that I run in because he starred on my favorite TV show of all time, Saved by the Bell. He was Rod Belding, Mr. Belding's brother, that had promised to take the class on the ski trip before he ditched them for the stewardess.
Do I have my cricket sounds from?
From they were really long cricket sounds, Brain.
Everybody knows who Rod Belding is. Come on now.
I might have to do a little editing on this. I got extra time. Yeah, so there you go, folks. Rod Belding. Anyway, they're like, hey, what about the Anderson?
That's what they come for, Brain. Konnichiwa.
What did they what are you doing with this Anderson woman? Have you convinced her to sell her land? Oh, I'm working on it. Then Dunstan's like, hey, you fucking her? Excellent question. And of course, Lonnie is offended by it. Dunstan's like, oh, well, let's do a card trick to patch things up. And it seems like he didn't get it right. But then when Lonnie gets out to his car with his bribe money, in the money is the very card, the two of clubs.
Ooh, I like him as a character. He Dunstan. He has that kind of like plays a little aloof a lot, but you can tell like he also he does it confidently because he's actually a super serious threat.
Yes,
it's that sinister aloofness.
Yes, you just know like you know what's going on.
Yeah, he makes for a very good villain. If you just put those like him versus Van Damme, you wouldn't think like, oh, but it's one of those. Again, he's sinister. He thinks evil.
He is, but he isn't. Like it's not like because his motives seem so just kind of like I don't know because he's being paid.
Yeah,
like
he's a fixer. He's just
To me, Hale is the sinister one. Dunstan almost has this almost casual nonchalantness about his evilness that's almost sometimes even worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, right after that, Lonnie does pay Clyde a visit. He kind of starts mentioning the offer to buy her land, and she's I'm not interested in talking about that. Later, Sam does return the salt shaker, so he was only borrowing it. And Mookie hears it again and tosses a ball down and says, E.T., is that you? And of course, Sam's not going to respond to this. He just takes off. But then Mookie's like, all right, I'm going to go find me E.T.
He takes off like a bull in a china shop and as much shit on his way out as he can.
He did not bring Reese's Pieces, but that's neither here nor there. When he does find E.T., it's actually Sam with a gun and a copy of Top Heavy magazine.
So that's why he stayed in front of her window before. We know he's a boob guy.
Yeah. I'm going to say...
We know who's not a boob guy.
Who's that?
Young Mookie.
That's right. He thinks they're gross.
He thinks they're gross.
Totally gross. But...
he'll come around.
Indeed. Sam was actually seemingly reading the magazine.
He likes it for the articles, Brain.
He might be the first man, or he's probably lucky that Mookie showed up when he did. Because maybe if he was looking at it a little bit longer,
could be even more awkward.
He wouldn't have just been reading them, and he wouldn't have had
the awkwardness is yet to come.
Right.
We're only a couple of minutes away from awkward.
This could have been even worse, though. It's one thing to see one thing, but to see it, no, you don't know. Okay, so the next morning, Sam is bathing in the pond. He's standing in the pond. Is he standing on top of the Trans Am?
I think he is. Yeah, he's just standing on top of the car.
Because he's in there. He's in there pretty deep, but he's standing there. So,
well, sometimes Brain those.
I don't think you should say he's in there pretty deep when you're talking about a naked man.
Well, he'll be. That comes later, but yeah, he's in the pond. Mookie shows back up, and he's, oh, can I cook you this steak? Sure. And then it's like, all right, I better get out of here. And as Sam gets out, we get the obligatory JCVD ass shot. But then Bree shows up. So now both of these kids are looking at this man's penis. All right?
No, we have a single shot of film with JCVD standing there butt ass naked with two
Two
young
little
children
kids.
in the
Yeah.
shot.
No attempt should have been made. If you are a normal member of society and a kid stumbles upon your campsite, hideout, whatever, you don't move from that water where you're at least
Right.
covered by Mother Nature.
Right.
You're not like, oh, you're gonna cook me a steak? Okay, give me a second. Like,
Or yeah, you
doesn't
should have been
matter if
like,
it's a
hey, can you go back? Can you get some? I like salt on it. Go get the salt, and you can cook it. And then, but when he goes off to get the salt, you get out and put some drawers on at least.
and it wasn't played for nefarious purposes, but
No.
you kind of look at it and you're like, okay, like I would not want my child around a naked man, friendly or otherwise.
Right.
Were intimacy coordinators a thing in 1993 in Hollywood?
I don't know. We could just assume that Van Damme had a little like pouch over his junk.
I'm sure he did.
And
Like a sock puppet.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if he was doing a show with it, but
hey kids,
yeah, that makes it even worse. I think it'd be better off if there was no puppet. If he, oh, come on now. Anyway,
Jean-Claude Van Dyck.
He did the splits and then just had it.
Oh boy, no, don't.
Those were the arms of the puppets. He painted arms on his thighs, so when he did the split, it looked like it was like clapping.
Clyde calls for the kids, and they go away. And Sam's like, "Hey, don't tell anyone you saw me here. Yeah, really don't.
Just let's add to the creepiness.
Yeah,
don't say anything." All right. So then, obviously, they went off somewhere, and they're coming home at night, and there's a dead cow, and they're like, "Oh, what the hell is this dead cow?" And then there's guys that pop up. They're at the window scaring Clyde, scaring the kids. They're
bust
about
the window.
They bust the window. It's about to get real bad. It's about to get real bad. But here comes Sam, fully clothed, to the rescue.
Thank God. Yep, and this is where I think this is where they find out he's a lawyer, right? Is this the first time he says he's a lawyer?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought he
Pretty
said something
soon
about being a lawyer.
Yeah, that is true. Once we get into the house, so yeah, he beats up the guys. They run off. Clyde's like, "Who the hell is this guy?" And Mookie's like, "Oh, that's my friend Sam." And they're like, "Okay, come on in for coffee." And this is like something straight out of Toy Man's world. Like he just invites people in for coffee all the time. Don't you imagine that, Ryan Campbell?
Oh, I imagine if
it's like angel food cake
within his. Yeah, there's always hors d'oeuvres out and ready.
Yeah. Toy Man's a real.
Hey, I'm a social guy, and I do have the benefit of having the family bakery, but
there's like a pitcher of lemonade ready to go with like a stack of paper cups in case company wants like a little drink. Yeah,
he's good. And we kind of get the feeling that Mookie is quickly growing attached to Sam. Obviously, he doesn't have a dad, and he's got this male figure in his life suddenly, and apparently he didn't take to Lonnie, but he seems very taken by Sam.
Kids have that sense, brain. They know when someone's full of shit like Lonnie, and when they are, endearing. Plus, they had the mystery of like being like his ET, and it turns out to be like a dad.
He just saw this guy whoop a bunch of guys' asses.
Yeah.
He's like cool. He's like the coolest guy he's ever seen in his life.
Plus, he's got a hog on him.
Whoa!
You meant the motorcycle they're just gonna rebuild, right?
Motorcycle. Yeah, you're right. So then Clyde's like, "Oh, well, where are you from? What do you do for a living? Where'd you learn to fight?" And we go, "Oh, I'm Quebec, and I'm a lawyer, and I learned to fight in law school." And so then he's like, "All right, well, I'll go back to my tent." And she's like, "Well, you could stay at the barn. And would you like money for?" "Oh, no, you're fine." Okay, so Sam has at least a roof over his head now. It's a barn roof, but it's a roof nonetheless. The next morning, Clyde does bring him a change of clothes, so he's not just wandering around in a suit.
And I assume those had to be her ex-husband, her deceased husband's clothes.
I would think so, yes.
That's action movie 101, is that if there's a deceased male, his clothes are going to fit the hero of the film.
Right. And she kept them all. But, it looked like, I assume she was taking the kids off to school. So she goes off. He goes inside to shower and put on these new clothes. And Lonnie shows up looking for Clyde and walks right into the bathroom and sees Sam in the shower.
More JCVD. Half the cast of this movie sees his penis in this movie, Brain.
Yeah. And yeah, in less than 48 hours, 4 people are about to have seen his penis because Clyde then does show up. And she said, "What are you doing? That's my cousin from my third cousin removed from this." And okay, yeah. So Lonnie's like, "All right." He was ready. He's like, "Who the hell? Let me see some ID." Which would have the jig would have been up immediately if he got that ID.
Well, and the gun was there. That would have
And the
helped.
gun, yeah, that wouldn't have helped. So Clyde saves the day unknowingly. And then later, Sam joins the Andersons for dinner, and Mookie asks Sam to pass the salt.
Ah, what a gag.
And then Sam asks Clyde about the motorcycle in the barn. They agree on a price. And then, Toy Man, kids say the darndest things, don't they?
Yeah, because we get, and this is something that we wouldn't be able to get if this film was made in 2026, the daughter Bree talking about Van Damme's penis size.
Yeah, she compliments him on it, saying it's big. What does she have
And
to
to follow
compare
up
it
on
to?
that, the mom doesn't immediately shut down the conversation. She's like, "No, it's just an average penis."
That is the weirder part. And to the benefit of the movie, she stays pretty consistent with how she responds to these kinds of questions. We have another one here coming up in a little bit. But yeah, she doesn't, say that's inappropriate. She's just like, it's pretty average.
Or why have you seen? I mean, Mookie does jump in right away, like she saw him washing in the pond. So I guess that prevented her from being like, "Wait a minute, is this man exposing himself to you? What the hell's going on?" But I want to know, how does she know? What point of reference does this girl have to know that that's big?
Well, we know she was married, but we don't know what happened before that. Maybe
Some
she,
things are better left unsaid.
Oh my word! Well, anyway, they're at dinner talking about Sam's penis, and this is just
he seems pretty cool with it. He's just like, hey,
what are you gonna do? Mookie hangs out with Sam as he's working on the bike, but Mookie's a little bit like, "Wait a minute, he's gonna get this bike and he's gonna get the hell out of here, and I don't want him to get the hell out of here." So he's kind of torn about this whole motorcycle thing.
I assume that's also his dead dad's
Yeah,
bike.
it was dead. Right. The next day, Mr. Hale shows up at Clyde's with yet another offer. This one even better than the previous ones, better than he's offered anyone else in the valley. And then he's like, "I've checked, and if you're a little bit behind, if you get too far behind on your mortgage, they're going to foreclose, and then I'll just get it that way. So why don't and you'll have nothing to show for it. Here, you at least you get something, you get money." But Legal Eagle Sam intervenes, and
Legal talk.
He hits her with hits Hale and her with some legal talk, and okay. Mr. Hale's like, "Oh, who the hell are you?" And
Brain, do you know what happens if you miss your third mortgage payment?
You get your third notice.
You've missed 3 mortgage payments.
Oh, okay. I hope not to do that. I hope not to find that out. We cut to a town hall meeting later where Mr. Hale is showing his vision for the valley and how wonderful and beautiful this land is and how he has no intentions of disrespecting it. And then we get Mr. Tom Lewis, who stands up and is like, "Fuck you, basically. I'm not selling my land."
This town is like the town of Harrison fighting a Walmart, man. These people are...
"You shove your golf course up your ass." And then his wife's like, "Oh, Tom. And then they leave, and Dunston's giving Tom the stink eye. And Toy Man, that's not a good sign for Tom Lewis.
No, he just put himself on the shit list by being outspoken there.
So yeah,
Clyde didn't really help either. She kind of egged him on a little bit,
No, we don't have to sell because I heard legal talk earlier.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So later that night, Mookie rushes into the barn to wake up Sam because Tom Lewis's his barn the neighbors. He's like, "Yeah, the neighbor's barn is on fire." "Oh shit, I'm Sam. I'm gonna run over there. Have your mom call the fire department." Probably should have done that first, Mookie, but if Chad Cruz was here, we could confirm. What should you do?
No, Sam is his hero. He's got a superhero in the
Should you
barn. That's where
should
he's
you
going first.
find Van Damme in your barn, or should you call the fire department? Which should you do first? I'm
I
guessing.
mean, I know what we should do, but if you put yourself in kid shoes and that guy is like a
If I put
superhero.
myself in kid shoes, my feet would hurt. Anyway, when Sam gets there, Tom's wife is, oh, he's in the barn because he's trying to get the horses out. So Sam gets in there, helps him get the horses out. Then part of the rafters caves in on Tom, but Sam gets him out. Oh, that's quite the rescue, right? He ain't done yet, folks, because that fire is getting dangerously close to the giant ass propane tank, Ryan Campbell.
Oh man, it's going to be an explosion. And then of course, Gladys shows up and just is perfectly content as having her kids just stand right in front of her. She's using them as meat shields for the incoming explosion. But luckily, Sam's not going to. His quick wits notice that there is a water tower sitting directly adjacent to the increasingly burning propane tank. So he hops on a bulldozer and does what any of us in a Lego game would do, knocks that shit over to put the fire out. And I think a little mini kit popped up afterwards, didn't it?
It may have. I'm glad you brought that term up because that's what Van Damme was wearing in the pond, a meat shield. Now listen. So Sam, they go back home. Sam's tucking Mookie in, like, that was good that you got me. You did a great job. Oh, are you going to stay? Well, I have to stay a while. I still got to, fix that motorcycle. And Clyde's hearing all this, and she's getting emotional. And then she opens up to Sam a little bit. And then the next.
Put up a little more if he was willing to.
We'll get there. Anyway, the next day, Sam is now working on the motorcycle, and he's watching Clyde wash a horse.
That horse never been washed that hard in his life.
I was gonna say, you guys made that sound dirtier than it actually was.
She had that white top on.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah. She didn't have
that's the cleanest that horse has ever been.
Seductive horse washing.
Mm-hmm. And
it's just like a country version of car washing.
Car wash, yeah.
Yeah, sexy car washing.
The rural bikini car wash company.
Right,
indeed.
Exactly.
So then Sam and Mookie go into town for parts for the motorcycle. And this is where we get our first Sam and Mr. Dunstan encounter, Ryan Campbell.
I love when movies do something like that where like you're the main, maybe not the main bad guy, but like the most threatening bad guy and your hero meet like in a kind of innocuous place, and there's just this tension because we know what they might not know yet. So there's this playful banter back and forth where they're both kind of sizing each other up, and you can tell they're just kind of playing like a mental game, little jabs and chess moves, and it's all very, very intense, Brain. It's nice.
Right, you're not from around here. You're not from around here either, you bastard.
What kind of bike you fixing? What's the name of it? And you're thinking like there shouldn't be a reason why saying a Triumph is a problem, but something tells me like you don't want to give him the satisfaction like answering his questions.
Mm-hmm. So then Dunstan has a little confab with the bulldozing Gene LaBelle, the legend himself, Toyman.
Judo Gene doing a lot of bulldozing and a little less judo this time around.
Indeed. We go to the Anderson home that evening, and it's home movie time. And after the kids go to bed, Sam and Clyde are chatting it up on the porch, and we see Lonnie now is the creeper. He's watching from afar. He's not liking what he sees, Ryan Campbell.
No, he's got himself a little brewski, to get a little tipsy before you start making bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things.
So yeah, then Clyde's up in her room. There's a knock on the door. Here's Lonnie. He's gone home and possibly got more beer and got in his civilian wear. And he's there for his usual sex visit. But she's like, no, not today. And Lonnie, of course, gets pissy. Meanwhile,
let me know when you know.
Oh yeah, he was really
sissy boy runs off like.
Yeah, trying to get a sympathy fuck. Anyway, out in the pasture, Gene LaBelle and his friends, they're like oil or gas or what are they? They're just fucking things up out there.
Yeah, I assume that they're putting some sort of oil into the soil.
Mhm.
That would just make it,
Very amused by that, are you?
make it,
Rhyming is fun.
that's right, inhospitable for plant life, I assume.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they were like, let's see her grow some shit now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You dumb shits. Anyway, LaBelle, Sam again shows up because he hears this heavy fucking equipment. And LaBelle tries to crush him with the bulldozer scoop, but no. This is Jean Claude Van Damme. This is Sam, for fuck's sake. And he
It's a
kicks all
pretty
the.
that's a pretty good stunt there. Like
Yeah.
in the shot, you see like the stunt man. I assume it was a stunt man roll under the scoop. Like they didn't like quick cut it where you could see where like they went in it. So that's a pretty dangerous. It doesn't seem like one that would be super difficult, but you'd have to time that
Mm-hmm.
pretty darn well.
So then the next day, Hale is pissed that Dunstan and his crew they're not getting the job done. And then Lonnie's there, and he's like, you know what? Let me deal with Sam. All right, do what you got to do. And next thing you know, Lonnie shows up, cuffs
There's also
Sam.
this throughout the entire thing. There's this like subplot that they think Lonnie's kind of a pussy in a way. You know,
Right.
like they,
He can't get the job done.
every time he walks out of the room, they kind
useful
of
idiot.
laugh about it. Yeah, exactly. Like you can tell he's on borrowed time, even if he does deliver.
So he goes to the barn, cuffs Sam to the barn door, beats him with his nightstick. It was like Toyman, like he was handcuffing him to the top rope. And then he big
Yeah,
boss.
but even though he's got that Saved by the Bell pedigree, Lonnie is not as cool as the Big Boss Man.
No, he is who was not on Saved by the Bell. If you're wondering out there, anyone. Michael Worth was on Saved by the Bell, though, I do believe. Was he?
I'm
not?
surprised
He
they
was. He
never
was
did.
on Saved by the Bell, the new class, and he played a bad cop.
I'm
But
surprised there was never a wrestling crossover on Saved by the Bell. It seemed pretty natural. Boy
think
Meets World
Cats-
got one.
I think Casper
They
Van.
mentioned wrestling quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Slater was on the wrestling team.
Seemed like a
Didn't Slater
natural
have a
fit.
Hulk Hogan picture in his locker at one point?
He did.
See? You know who played Slater's dad?
Gerald Castillo.
What movie did we see him in?
Gerald Castillo's been in a lot of movies. He's a cop. What movie am I thinking of?
Death Wish 4. Anyway,
Yes, Death Wish 4, yeah.
Clyde. Oh, yeah. So when Clyde and the kids get home, they see Sam down and out. Oh, no. So Clyde, of course, has to take Sam all the way up to her room to nurse his wounds,
That's right.
even though we've established that there's a bathroom on the first floor.
Yeah, because nothing takes like a gut punch away, brain. You just have to like dab it with a wet paper cloth or
Yeah,
with a wet.
She's my dad. That was something. Anyway,
I think he'll be doing the dabbing.
let's see. Anyway, she's like, why won't you open up to me? And then she opens up her blouse. And then she opens up her legs.
There you go.
Well, I mean, he opens up her blouse because he basically just rips it apart.
Well, he does. Yeah, he won't open up to her, but he'll open up her blouse and her legs, and then it's sexy time.
And this is after the previous night. She said, "Do you want to sleep in my room?" And he shuts her down.
She's wanted it.
She has. It's been a while, brain, and I'm guessing Lonnie ain't
getting the job done.
No, he is not.
Maybe. Never mind. Let's move on. The next morning, Mookie is now looking for Sam, and she's like, "Oh, he's still sleeping." He said, "No, he's not. I was just out in the barn. He's not there." Oh, that's because he spent the night in my room.
The way she says it too, like she's saying it to like a girlfriend roommate, like he stayed in the room, like ooh, and it's her son.
Yeah, and she's got the afterglow going on.
Yeah, he's excited about it though. She knows he'd be excited.
Yeah, I would say the kids are all happy now.
Oh, that means that's more of a chance he's going to stick around if mom's putting out on the regular.
Well, then he says the fantastic line that he's still sleeping. What did you do to him all night?
What do you think happened over there, Ryan Campbell?
I think they did it all night and maybe a little bit longer.
Woo! All right, well. But then she's like, "Oh, wait a minute. Where's my daughter? Is she out looking at penis?" Where is she?
The last guy she brought home turned out okay, so
where is she? And then here comes Dunstan with Bree.
Dunstan checks in.
and he's like, and we know how dangerous this is, and obviously even Clyde is like, who the hell is this guy? It's kind of odd that this man is here. Again, yeah, she lucked out with one, but it's like, what are the odds that two nice gentlemen will just pop up at her door? Probably not much. But Sam, we find out, he is up and on his feet, and he gets in Dunstan's face, threatens him, and then he leaves. And then a little bit, we see Clyde, and she's watching Sam playing with the kids, probably tingling a little bit. And
It's that moment brain in the movie where like your brain's like it's all about to hit the fan, isn't it? This is
yeah,
usually
it's
when the
too
shit
good.
hits the fan.
It's too
Nope,
good.
nope.
Everything's too good. Sam obviously did some things that he shouldn't have done, but look at all the good he's been doing since he's been here, not counting exposing himself to the town. But he didn't do that on purpose. It just was happenstance.
No,
Circumstantial exposure.
yeah, it was just contractually obligated,
Uh, so then Lonnie shows back up, and Sam is in the barn baling the hay. And he's like, the FBI just left my office. I know who you are. If you care about Clyde, you'll get the hell out of here. So then Lonnie goes back, mentions it to Clyde, who is visibly upset. Sam,
yeah, he didn't give him any time. It seemed like he was giving him the option to just like come clean and get out of town,
Right.
like and not hurt Clyde, just like skip town.
Yeah, don't even tell her anything about
hit
it.
Hit it and quit it, and she'll
Right.
get over it. And then he walks out of the barn and immediately tells her everything.
And you can see she's upset. Sam goes to find her up in her room. She's not hearing it. She's like, you got to go. He goes back up. The kids are still playing. He just kind of waves to them. Little do they know, he's waving goodbye, Toy Man. What a heartbreaking moment.
Yeah, all because of that damn Lonnie. It's all Lonnie's fault. Imagine if this was the end of the movie, the tension and the disdain those kids would have for Lonnie from that point on.
Oh, they'd kill Lonnie. I think they would. I think it would take a very dark turn, and the kids would kill.
Lonnie would have nowhere to run because the kids would tear him apart.
Right.
Kieran would take his own like good son turn, like his brother.
Well, we get a little Home Alone or Barn Alone in a little bit.
We do.
So Sam goes to the barn, starts packing his things up. See, oh, you know what? I'll leave her a tape because she obviously was not in the mood to hear from me now. I will leave her a nice message, and then he's off. He's off. Lonnie, meanwhile, is meeting with his boys, Hale and Dunstan. He's like, see here, this guy's a wanted criminal. Very good work, Lonnie. And he's like, why didn't you take him in? Well, we don't need all the feds and everything all around here. So.
Oh, Lonnie, you're an up and comer, man.
Yeah, good job, Lonnie.
Bright future here in the organization.
That does wrap up the loose plot point of if he hates this guy so much and wants him gone, why doesn't he just take him in? So at least that does give some reaning as to why he was just like, I'll let you go.
Because Lonnie knows where his bread is buttered. And whether, as long as he's gone, he's got another shot at Clyde. So, yeah, he's doing his thing. But Sam now stops at a diner because he hasn't had a steak in like 8 hours.
He's got to get that steak.
And here is again where acting sketchy goes wrong for Sam. Because a state trooper comes in and he's really just like, oh, that's a nice motorcycle. Is that yours? Oh, yeah, I restore. Oh, can you restore it? Yeah. And then Sam just gets up and leaves. He took 2 bites, which is very suspicious. The trooper, of course, takes down the license plate, which also is suspicious because he said he came in from Quebec and it did not have Quebec plates. So, Sam, what are you doing to yourself? Back at the barn, Mookie has found the tape and he's listening to it. And Clyde comes in and she's all getting emotional. And we find
she sees that money.
Right. And then we get Sam back to camping. But then he quickly realizes, Toy Man, he is not alone out in those woods.
No, you see a couple of things fleeting by. You can't really tell exactly what it is yet. And then we get this slow motion, springing up from a seated position into jumping onto the bike. Kind of a little,
which would be a
gymnastic slow motion show off move from
And
Van Damme there.
it's a kickstart bike. So that's
yeah.
like,
He's
for
doing it
one,
all in one.
starting a bike like that in a single kick, is pretty challenging, let alone. But like,
And making that jump and not destroying your balls is something that I don't think is possible if it was really to be done.
Well, then he would have the biggest balls the kids ever saw because they'd be swollen at that
Or
point.
maybe he had his meat shield on and that protected him
There
from
you go.
the ball damage. So yeah, there's cops on horseback. They're chasing him. Then there's cops there's one on a dirt bike. Then there's just like a truck, and they're just all after him.
It's almost like video game-ish. Like you start with the cops on horseback, then you graduate to the cops on dirt bikes, and you get the cop in the truck.
Yeah,
it's like GTA.
he's in some trouble there. Back at the Anderson home, Clyde is starting to like lock things up, and they're like, "You never lock things up. Oh, we're just being cautious. Let's play some
Well,
Monopoly."
yeah, people keep coming around the house, and
It's true.
you've been paying attention for the past 4 days, you dumb little girl.
Wow.
Can't believe she said that to her daughter. I don't know.
That was an interesting bit of dialogue. Very well recited, though, Ryan. So now, yeah, and when we last see Sam, he's like almost going to go off the edge, but we don't know. But next thing we see him, Sam is at the literal and figurative crossroad, and
That's
all
right.
he says is Clyde,
Turn that bitch around.
and we pretty much knows what's going to go on. But now the Monopoly game is interrupted when Dunstan just kicks the door in. The kids, of course, freak out. Clyde is like, "Go, run upstairs." There's some dumb goon who chases after him, manages to get Bree, but Mookie, the ever resourceful Mookie, went out the window. Lonnie shows up. Dunstan takes him out. Then he's like, "Go find the boy." So the goon goes out. Mookie's like, "Come on and get me, you dummy." Very similar. And
Yeah, very Kevin McAllister.
we get a barn alone, and the goon is there, and Mookie's got the horse, and he pulls the string, and then boom, knocks that goon out.
In reality, that probably
he would have been dead.
Yeah, if not dead, like not getting up.
Right. He would have some. Yeah. His skull was fractured, and yeah, he's in a coma.
Instead, he took like a Three Stooges fall from this.
Yeah, and then he gets up, only to get knocked out a second time by Sam with the barn door. That barn door has seen almost as much action as Clyde in this movie.
Whoa.
Inside, speaking of Clyde, she is being forced to sign over her land. And they're like, "Okay." And she's like, "Well, get out of here." But like, "Oh, not before we set fire to this place." What?
Can't have any witnesses. Can't have her running around telling everybody what happened.
Right. And plus, yeah, she can't fight. I mean, she couldn't.
I guess I figured no one in town will be smart enough to put two and two together that like she signed it over the night before she died in the fire of the house. That seems awfully suspicious.
Right. Well, we don't know were they going to leave her in there, or were they going to like if the house is gone, well, then there's really no reason for her to fight to stay because where's she going to live? I don't know. Maybe they were going to keep them all in there and burn them alive. These are bastards, so who knows?
It's like Black Creek again. It's just these guys.
Oh my God, you're right.
Taking land,
It's the only thing they're not making any more of.
Is what I've heard. That's right.
So it's very valuable. So this leads up to what we know was coming, Toyman, because we get Sam versus Dunstan.
A nice little brawl that involves a rake, a little bit of weaponry. Van Damme, of course, showing off his kicks. And then we end up with Dunstan getting thrown through the windshield of a cop car. We think that's it. But then we get a little tag team action because he recovers and is about to blow Sam away when Mookie is able to pass Sam the gun. And then we get a very famous shot. I remember it from the trailer. And it's one of those like standout little 2-second stunt scenes of Van Damme jumping like an arrow straight through the air through the gate and firing off the kill shot that does Dunstan in. Or as you have put in the notes, Dunstan checks out.
Indeed, he did.
Oh, I didn't see that in the notes. I swear when I did that earlier, I wasn't stealing that.
Dunstan checks in.
I did.
Now he checks out because he did. See, get it?
I get it.
Well, anyway, now Hale is a desperate man. He's got Clyde at gunpoint and he's exiting the house. Just what a horrible timing. Because all the law enforcement now are showing up. Clyde runs back inside. Sam is back in there. He says his goodbye to Mookie, he's not accepting it. He won't say goodbye. Bree says goodbye. Clyde says her goodbye. And I'll wait for you, no matter how long it
Does the
takes.
prison have conjugal visits?
Ooh.
All of this
Uh,
is right in front of Lonnie, by the way.
well, he's down and he's still like tied up, but Sam goes, unties him, like, okay, come on, you're going to be the one. You arrest me, you turn me over. Lonnie walks him out. Mookie's finally, okay, I better say goodbye. So he runs out, says his goodbye. We get a bastard, thanks to Hale, as he refers to Sam as a bastard, which is the pot calling the kettle black. And we get the moment where Hale gets nailed in the ball. He did not have a meat shield on.
He did not.
Because
And we did skip. Lonnie does drop the line that because he saved so many lives today, maybe he'll get some.
It could mean it should count for something.
Yeah, like maybe he'll get like some time off his sentence or something. You know?
Right.
Maybe they find out that it was actually
Billy was
Billy
the
that was the
he
one.
should never been in there anyway. But of course, he
Yeah.
did still escape prison, which is wrong. But so he'll probably have to do some time.
Yeah, even if you give a good like I don't know 4 or 5 years, he's still getting out before those kids finish high school and mom's still hot.
Okay, all right. See, you've really thought this through. Anyway, Sam is in the back of the cop car. He waves goodbye. Freeze frame. End credits. Ryan Campbell, your first time watching Nowhere to Run. Your thoughts?
I really liked it. We mentioned earlier it's maybe a little light on action for a JCVD movie, but it makes up for that in some genuine like heart. And I think you buy the relationship between Sam and the kids, and that the life that he's come from and this new life he sees there with like these kids that he has grown to like, and this simple farm life and everything. Like he's kind of down for it. Clyde, the same thing. Like, she's trying to do it on her own. And it's getting the walls are closing in, and all of a sudden this man comes. That's great with your kids. It's like you're buying all that. Like on the emotional level, I think the movie does a really great job that helps fill the gap where again maybe it's a little light on JCVD, martial arts scenes,
Right.
kicking ass kind of stuff. So I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I think more than kind of what I thought I would. I didn't really not that I really knew what to expect, but it worked for me.
Toyman.
This is one I like. To Ryan's point, it does have more of like that thriller vibe to it because even with Dunstan being such a, the psychological trauma of him dealing with people as opposed to the physical with the way that he kind of gets under people's skin, you didn't have that martial arts or like that strong man, like that peer to Van Damme's force for him to deal with here.
Right.
But yeah, I like the way that he bonds with the kids, even if it started off in a very awkward nature. Something that we can look back at and laugh at as we review this movie, 30 plus years later. But no, this is a good one. Like it's not as action packed as Bloodsport or Kickboxer for sure, but it does something different. But Van Damme was the perfect guy for it. I couldn't see someone like Seagal at the time
No.
being having the same vibe, even though Seagal was still kind of on his game at this point.
Right.
So this was perfect for Van Damme to do something a little different while also staying true to what brought him to the dance.
He's good with kids in these movies. Like any of the movies where he interacts with a kid, he seems to be pretty
Yeah,
good in
sudden
that
death.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, not all the other guys of his contemporaries do as good acting against a kid.
Right. And again, you could see, I mean, this was a January movie. So, that's the time you can kind of put some of this.
Award season, brain.
No, not for awards. I was just like, but this is like, okay.
Submit it for your
From
consideration.
Horn 2026 for Best Meat Shield goes to.
This would probably not be like play well in the summer when you had all these real big time action movies. But it's like, all right, there ain't nothing else going on in January. Throw this on there. It's a little something different for Van Damme. As you said, Ryan, it has a lot of heart to it, a good story. And Van Damme was, you could see the progression of all his movies where he was always trying to, it got to a point where it's like, okay, I got to do something different. It started, I think, with Double Impact. You had the twin gimmick. And yes, folks, just in case, I know we seem to have cleared this problem up, but I don't want it to creep back up. Van Damme played both of the brothers in that movie. We had Universal Soldier, which was the team up and showdown with Dolph, and now we have this one, which is again relied more on story and not as much. It's a more of a balance of story and action. And he did get to do some of his stuff, did get to kick some ass, but he also got to show some heart and interact with the kids, have a little love story, which we didn't really have very complex love stories prior to this. It was kind of, just that Bloodsport reporter he banged.
And I kind of digged all the Clyde and her kids stuff. Like
Right.
it was different. Like it wasn't like the standard. Most of us that are parents, especially single parents, like I said, like we're maybe not to that level, but it's a little different. It's not always like you see in the old movies where oh, first name, middle name, last name. How dare you talk like that kind of thing. So I like that little twist on it. She's doing her best, Brain.
She's doing the best with what she's got, and nowhere to run. Now, again, I don't think it's going to ever be on the top of anyone's Van Damme list, but it's a very good movie and one that I had not seen in a while, so I'm glad we revisit it for the Bulletproof podcast. All right, time to wrap things up. Of course, I want to talk about social media at Bulletproof Pod on X and Blue Sky, at Bulletproof Action on Instagram and on Facebook. And I also want to mention I've been getting more active on the Letterboxd.
Oh, nice.
I have my own personal one. If you're on the Letterboxd, Chris the Brain, and it's Bulletproof Pod for the Bulletproof Action letterbox, which I'll use it to kind of, there's the diary feature, which is what I was most interested in, because I would like to see how much time of my life am I wasting watching movies,
right,
or enjoying watching movies, and what we cover as well here on the podcast and on the website, and of course the YouTube channel. Brian Campbell, anything popping off on the YouTube channel? I was happy to see some people watch the Golden Butt Horns on there.
Yeah. It like anything, it's all a matter of hitting the right tags and the algorithm grabbing onto it. But yeah, we definitely appreciate it. Anyone who checked out the Golden Butt Horns on there, the year-end review is on there, and we're starting off 2026 strong.
We are. Speaking of starting off 2026 strong, I watched it earlier today as we are recording this. But Chris Van Vliet had Stone Cold Steve Austin on his show as his first show of 2026. Now, that's a big way to start off your 2026. I don't know. I don't believe that's what these people were thinking, but I was on the very first Rad Revival House of 2026 talking Beach of the War Gods. Also on the very first direct-to-video podcast, or direct-to-video connoisseur podcast, talking the first Project Shadow Chaser.
We just did.
It featured Joss Ackland.
Which, also featured Joss Ackland, indeed, and Martin Cove. And I'll be back on the PM Entertainment podcast, which I think is the first one of that too for 2026, to talk Midnight Warrior. So I've been very busy. I've been making the rounds on these other podcasts.
That's how talented you are, Brain. Everybody wants to get a piece.
I think I don't know. I don't think that's it, but I'm happy to have done it, and I want to make sure I plug those fine podcasts here before we wrap up. I also want to thank all those Stranger Things fans who probably will never return to bulletproofAction.com, but by God, you showed up once, and you got 2026 off to a very good start.
Well, there's a lot of negativity surrounding the finale, so if that many people got to hear my more positive review of it, I appreciate it. That's good. Get some more good vibes out there.
Indeed. And, I also would be remiss if I did not thank whoever it was in Japan who downloaded every episode of the Bulletproof podcast. Thank you so much.
Japan.
We're big in Japan.
I love it. I think we should go do a meetup. Let's just go to Japan and do a meetup.
With meat shields?
Yep, exactly.
And Bulletproof is big in Japan t-shirts.
Indeed.
Bigger than Godzilla, some may say.
Oh, wow.
But yes, arigato, those of you in Japan. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We could be like the Terry Gordia podcast and just go over and just take over Japan.
I mean, how many like mid wrestlers have gone to Japan and then like been huge over there?
Yeah.
Like what's his name? Albert. Over there was
Yeah.
huge.
Giant Bernard.
Giant
Yeah,
Bernard.
that
Yeah.
could be us. That could be us.
Right. Could
No,
be.
we'd go over there, and Rosanna Arquette would be waiting, and she'd say, "No, you guys are just average in Japan."
Oh.
But she wouldn't mean it. Secretly, she'd want us in her ears.
What? Oh. Okay. This is getting awkward as Van Damme coming out of a pond. All right. Anyway, next week, right here on the Bulletproof Podcast, I talked about it. I'll be covering it for bulletproofaction.com. But all three of us are going to discuss The Rip, which again drops on Netflix on Friday, January 16th.
Affleck and Damon back together, Brain.
Back together. It's throwing some Scott Adkins, and it's like must watch for this crew.
How about them apples?
Oh, I like it. I haven't watched Good Will Hunting in a damn long time. I used to watch that thing all the time, but I'll get back to it one day. If I do, you can find if I watched it on my letterbox diary, Chris the Brain. So yeah, next week it's The Rip. Anything else we want to talk about before we wrap this one up? Ryan Campbell, anything you have? Any arguments you want to start with anyone?
Don't get me started on any of that.
Okay.
Stranger Things finale was really good, and people need to learn, Brain, what a plot hole is. Okay, if a side character that's not one of the main characters that's only been featured in maybe 5 minutes the entire season doesn't get like something filled in that you need to see directly on screen that doesn't even affect the plot, that's not a plot hole. People don't know what plot holes are, Brain.
Are these people that don't know plot holes assholes?
They're that too. There's the Venn diagram of the two is pretty much a perfect circle.
Okay. Toyman, do you have any perfect circles you want to talk about?
I don't have any perfect circles, but I will continue to plug No Surrender Cinema as I always do. The Richard Norton edition is up, talking about a film that does not rank high on many lists, but I tried to spread some positivity in remembrance of the man with a little chat about Ironheart, and then I will be back later this month, and I am thinking about looking at a little seen Roger Corman movie that I have on DVD that I have not watched in a long time,
Mm.
but it has recently popped up on YouTube. It is a cop thriller called Under Oath, starring Jack Scalia and Eddie Velez of A-Team Season 5 fame.
Mm-hmm. Jack Scalia. Jack Scalia is the kind of guy your sassy aunt would love to watch in a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's quite the genre there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. They'd be like, ooh, Jack Scalia. Yeah, he's good. He did quite a few PM Entertainment movies and did quite well in those. So looking forward to that. Of course, Toyman. We'll check that out when it drops.
You can look forward to that.
I will. You know, as this drops, I had just reviewed the second Shepherd Code movie, which had a lot more of your boy Don the Dragon Wilson in it than the first one. It was
That
definitely
was the character of Lewis, correct?
Lewis. Yeah, it was a step up for sure on that one, and there's a third one coming out some point this year. I'm sure I'll be covering that. So again, bulletproofaction.com. Check it out all the time. People in other countries, don't let Japan win. You can download every episode just the same as they did.
We're going to start a Pacific War between China and Japan. We're going to be at the center, Brain.
That was a big plot point in Beach of the War Gods. Beach of the War Gods, by the way, that I talked about on Red Revival House. 10 bastards. So it made the list, but here's something interesting. It had 9 bastards, and it had like about 45 seconds left, and they threw one more in there, right under the wire. You can't imagine how exciting that is. And then my first movie that I watched in 2026 was called, what the hell was it called? Against Rascals with Kung Fu. 24 bastards. a new number 2 on the Count the Bastards list.
I was to say that's the one that you texted me about that it almost broke the record. Came pretty close.
It took the number 2 spot. I don't think anything's going to beat The Bastard at 46, but let's see it happen. But yeah, there you go. Count the Bastards on Bulletproof, and it's on my letterbox as well. I keeping a track over there too. So all kinds of things going on in 2026. We'll be back next week with the Rip. Thank you guys, and thank you everyone for listening. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.